Well, I do want to hear from the mayor and the planning director because they're intimately involved with the planning commission.
Well, first of all, I really appreciate this good conversation. This is the kind of stuff that I was used to in the legislature where the committees or the boards actually debated stuff and had differences of opinion. I think that's very healthy. I think that's very healthy. First of all, let me say that I support Dan's language. I think a broad statement about balance on the commission is a good thing. And in fact, it mirrors the recommendation that came out of an informal discussion with MNAC. They believe that, or they proposed, it was Cameron Jennings actually who said it, that some kind of a statement about balance on the planning commission would be good. And I haven't thought about occupation balance. I've been looking at kind of different kinds of balances like women and other things, but I always try to appoint who I think is the best person, because we have people involved in development that have lived here their whole lives, that they come to the position as a father, as a neighborhood member, as a community member, and being a developer is just what they do. So let me just say that if you could look at Dan's language or some rendition of it, that would be great. Dan and I had the privilege of attending an implicit bias training with the police department the other day. Before I took that training, I didn't have words for how I felt about singling out an occupation like this rather than saying it should be balanced. But now I do, because I really believe that the last thing we want to do on the Planning Commission is go to any kind of slots, like this is the neighborhood slot, this is the developer slot, this is the north slot, this is the south slot. We really need to have good thinkers on the Planning Commission that look at the facts and make recommendations, which you as a council member always have the chance to vote for or against, and that's your job. You can't, I don't think, hide behind it's hard, because it's what your job is. The other thing is, obviously, if you don't agree with who I recommend, you have every reason to vote against that. Now, if we had an overall goal explicit about balance, I would be fine with that. Then I could factor that into who I'm recommending. But to me, when we say we are biased against you because of what you do, and let's just say it's developers this time, but what is it next time? I am concerned about that, because I'd like to think that every single person in our community who wants to contribute has an equal opportunity to do that, regardless of their race, their religion, their sex, their sexual orientation, their job. Now, if you think that there is some implicit people making money off making decisions on the Planning Commission, then you have very little trust in me that I would appoint someone like that, because I would not. I think you can look at the people that are on there, and they're people that have different perceptions, but to use perception and perceived potential problem as a reason why we're prejudiced against certain occupations, to me, I just don't think it's right. And you have every right to say, Kelly, you are stacking the Planning Commission and I don't agree with you. I would be embarrassed of myself if I put people on the Planning Commission that didn't first think about the public. The public interest is their responsibility, and the whole city. So slots and occupations, to me, should have nothing to do with how we run the quasi-judicial part of the city. The Planning Commission is not to be political. It's supposed to be critical thinking, looking at the facts. You guys are the political people. You put the political, filter on that. But I'd like to think that the mayor is trusted to make the appointments that she believes is in, or he is in the best interest of the city. Having said that, I do understand that it does not have any filter now. I mean, it's up to the individual person to say, these are the best people. And if there was a desire for the council to take over appointing planning commission members that are like interviewing or looking at choices and kind of doing that political thing up front, I would feel kind of uncomfortable with that. And just so you understand, the way we do it now is the mayor does not just appoint someone. It's the president of the planning commission or the chair, the planning director, the assistant planning director that does the planning work, and myself that do that. That's how we picked. Lisa was the last planning director that planning commissioner that we picked, and that's how we do it. So it's an interview process of everybody who meets the minimum qualifications that wants to do the job. Now, in the implicit bias training, one of the suggestions that was made by someone was, if you want a more diverse-looking police department or fire department or whatever it is that you want, where do you recruit or ask for people to come and participate? And so I was given some good suggestions about areas where we could look at different cultural and religious and income levels to see if we could get a little bit more diversity. Difficult in our community, which is not as diverse as others, but there's a lot of diversity, and those people in those communities don't respond. I mean, they don't volunteer. So I think that's important. And the other thing on Planning Commission, I mean, we don't have anyone who rents. We don't have anyone who is not a homeowner. You know, those are things that are difficult for a lot of people in our community, and I think the balance comments that you made, Dan, mean we should be looking at all of those things, and I certainly agree. So this is entirely a decision that's made by you. I feel concerned that it's based on a perception and not a real problem. If there is a real problem, then I appreciate, Larry Horowitz sent me a list of people that I'm going to contact to see what their problem is with the process we use in the Planning Commission. So anyway, that's all I have to say. I really don't want to eliminate people or judge people based on their profession or their occupation, no matter what it is.